Welcome to Long Lost Brothers, the podcast devoted to the acquisition of betterment. My name is Brett Scott.
And I'm Jesse Koll.
And we are the Long Lost Brothers. Jesse, how's it going, man?
It's good. It's been a good but rough week. I'm glad to be doing our podcast. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, this week I had some kind of like stomach issue. I've been like mega nauseous, right?
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm not one to really call out from work often, but I did on Friday and just slept. But yeah, so I've been kind of I'm not having 100%. And so anyway, that was fun, a fun week. But
did that affect your training and everything?
Yeah, I did all my runs that were scheduled, but they weren't fucking world beating performances.
Right on.
I ran 11 miles yesterday. I'm pulling out of it. I'm feeling better. I took Friday off and slept most of the day, so sometimes pumping the brakes is part of the methodology, right? Yep.
But what I love is you didn't just all out go like, I'm not feeling too good, I'll just call it off. I just won't do any physical activity at all. I think a lot of people make that mistake, man.
Well, I ain't no bitch.
Right. Well, I think, there's a balance because some people will be like, well, I still got to push it to the max. Like, nah, man, but you got to keep moving. Like,
well, if I was like fucking had coronavirus or I was like literally like fucking vomiting and shitting my guts out,
right.
Probably not gonna run 11 miles. But I don't feel 100%, so I'm not gonna fucking be hitting these like it ain't gonna be the fucking end all beat all fucking workouts. But I'm super dedicated to this training block that I set up, and I took Friday off. I didn't have a run schedule that day. I slept all day. I ate a lot of calories, the right healthy foods. I chilled out. I let my mind rest. I didn't accomplish everything I wanted to. I didn't get to record my podcast. I didn't really get to put my effort into it because I just, I was just getting through work and getting through the things I needed to do to, just be a successful human in general.
Yep.
I did, look into this Maslow's hierarchy of needs a little bit, and that's something that I wanted to focus on, but that's something I know about already, but it's something I really wanted to delve into, but I didn't get the time to properly research it. But
yeah, we can do that. We can probably it'll probably weave into what we're going to talk about today, so that'll be cool.
Yeah. So how was your week?
Man, it's been really good. I've been training like normal. I am currently almost 24 hours into a fast. I think I'm going to go 48 hours on it.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I just, and to be honest, it was just because I got to a point this week where the last 2 days, I was just eating really shitty. And I felt it last night. Like my stomach was all in knots and I had trouble going to sleep. And I just felt really bloated and extra tired yesterday. It was crazy. Like I was falling asleep at like 7 o'clock in the evening, which is not like me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I think I just need like a reset. And sometimes a fast can do that, man. Like it gives all your digestive system and stuff like that a chance to not work so goddamn hard. And a lot of times it allows for other things like other systems in the body to do what they need to do,
Well, yeah, and it gives your body time to do the autophagy of your cells, and Yeah.
I also think it's a good tool for what we talked about last week, which is mental toughness, and that's like just not doing something uncomfortable that you're not used to doing on a regular basis. So it's like I'm used to eating every single day and a good amount every single day. So I train, so I require that food. And so it's like you get into this cycle of like eat, train, sleep, eat, train, sleep. Well, it's tough to take one of those things out of the equation. And I'm not one of these people that's all like crazy into it, like fasting. I'm not going to fast for a week. That's just not me, man. I'm not going to do it. But I think there's some benefit to doing it periodically, and doing it for, at the very least a 24-hour fast. But I will say, just from my own experience and things that I've read, that if you are going to fast, I want to throw this out there kind of as a disclaimer, for any period of time, going, 24 hours plus, you want to make extra sure you are getting vitamins and you are getting your electrolytes. So you want to be taking in that salt that you would normally be getting from your food and things like that. So even something like you and I use the Noon electrolyte supplement, something like that. Just drinking that and some water. That's a good tool for when you're fasting.
New staple. Okay,
Yeah.
This is okay. So sorry, I'm gonna cut you off.
No, you're good. I was done.
Okay, so we always put a hashtag staple whenever we got the Mountain Dew Zero. Send each other pictures and stuff.
Yes, sir.
I don't give a fuck. Right now, Mountain Dew Zero is the goddamn staple. That shit is a hit.
So this is like what Jesse's talking about. Is it's kind of like our little buzzword right now. Is just to send each other pictures and hashtag staple. So it'll be like, this fucking thing is a staple. This is a daily,
Yeah, like ribeye in my life is a staple.
Right.
Mountain Dew Zero right now is a staple.
Yes.
But dude, I found the new hitter. Okay, check this out. What you do is you get you one of these sparkling water cupcakes. Not right now. But look, you get one of them Noons and you put it in a sparkling water.
Oh my God! This is why you're my long lost brother, Jesse.
Oh my God! It's like soda with zero guilt. And nobody can even tell you it's bad for you because it's like bitches, electrolytes, and fucking water. Fuck off.
Dude, I did that today.
What? I'm drinking that right now.
so my wife comes home from the store and she's got this little 6-pack, and these aren't the sparkling ones, which I drink those all the time. I drink sparkling waters all the time.
Yeah.
And to be clear, this is not seltzer water. I don't drink that shit. That's just nasty. But sparkling water basically tastes like diet soda and whatever flavor that you get. But she comes home, these aren't sparkling, but she comes home with these flavored Aquafinas, and it's like berry flavored, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, well, I need to get in some electrolytes today because I'm fasting. So I went ahead and threw half of a Noon tablet in there, that orange mango or whatever it is that I have.
That's good. I like the strawberry lemonade. That's my preference. I ordered the variety pack per your advisement.
Yeah.
But yeah, that strawberry lemonade.
Dude, but you ain't joking, dude. Mix it with some flavored water. Oh my God, it's like drinking a Kool-Aid soda. It's fucking delicious.
I just straight drink the TV static. I mean, like smart water, sparkling.
Yeah.
I mean, I like unflavored Perrier. I'm nasty, but if it's cold, okay. And this all, me drinking carbonated water all stems from me being a serious beer drinker. And then wanting to be sober, but still enjoying, like when it's hot outside, having a bottle of beer. So I would get them lemon Perriers and crack that bad boy open, and I like pretend like it was a Corona, but it's not.
Yeah.
But but then I don't have to feel like a drunk piece of shit who got in a fight for nothing. Later in the day. So anyway,
there's something about that carbonation. There's something about that little bite that it has, that's really refreshing, man. Like in the summer, the same thing with beer, same thing with with soda. Like I'll get the same thing from like a Diet Pepsi or something. But man, there's something about that on a hot summer day, having an ice cold drink with that crispy bite at the end.
Yeah. So the Noon with the sparkling water, staple centric.
Staple. And we both discovered it around the same time. That's great.
Yeah. Dude, that's the new, that's the bad bitch summer drink right there.
Bad bitch staple. That's my new hashtag. that's a BBS.
Yeah.
The bad bitch staple.
The LLB's got the BBS.
There it is. All right, so today it was your idea, but we're going to talk about basically getting out of some tough situations, getting out of how to find your way out of, some dark areas. Yeah,
because it's easy to say, okay, so let me I don't want to say this. You ever have a friend that's going through like a tough breakup, or have you been through a tough breakup, and it's like, oh, cheer up, buddy, you all right? It's like, well, no shit, I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah, that's bullshit. That's bullshit, though. Like, okay, that's like a pull yourself up by the bootstraps thing. Like, it ain't that simple.
Right, and there's like the Jocko, right? Like the good and the best way to stop missing somebody, stop missing them. Right. And that works for some people, and that's fine. But I would say, for me, it's more like I give myself a time frame to mourn something. Okay, like a close friend of mine died. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I miss him. I love him, man. I love that dude. And it sucked because I had to space myself from him before he died because of what killed him, this substance abuse still, right? Yeah. And I was like, okay, man, like when I heard it, it was very painful and it sucked. And, and like, I'm kind of like getting a little, my arm here is saying I'm talking about it right now. And, for that, it's like, a death is different than a heartbreak because you can celebrate the goodness of that person and you can, everybody cries at a celebration of life, but you can look back and at the times you had good with that person. And I guess you could do that in a relationship too, but it's like,
yeah, that ain't the same.
Yeah, because you could still be like, man, fuck that bitch. But like,
no, it usually is like that. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. There's more anger and bitterness in that kind of a situation. Yeah. Than when you're kind of just like, God, mourning someone. That's a little different.
Yeah, but it's like even a relationship, you would still mourn that loss, mm-hmm. but at the same time, it's like the betrayal is there, so it hurts more.
Right.
Like, or even if not betrayal, even if it's just like, you know what, I'm over this, but you can't, you're still not over it because of entanglement, #entanglement. Right. But yeah, so anyway, the thing I was thinking about is like, it's like I was talking about how I was like, okay, I still trained even though I was sick, right? Yeah. Because it's like, in the previous relationship, I was super infatuated with this person, mm-hmm. and they discarded me, and maybe they slept on the kid. I would say that they slept on the kid, and they fucked up, and went a different direction. And that shit hurt my feelings so fucking bad, man. And, my buddy's like, oh, just cheer up, bud. It's going to be okay. I mean, I was fucked up emotionally. Like, I'm just going to go to the gym and I'm going to lift through this. And it's like, yeah, dude, I can fucking deadlift fucking 500 pounds. It fucking doesn't make anybody give a fuck but it doesn't change you emotionally. So it's like, you need to still participate in self-care. But I think that, it's appropriate for you to just take the time to feel the feelings, to feel them out, It's like, yeah, man, this sucks, and X, Y, and Z, why it sucks. Then you need to also, you need to have that takeaway that, you need to validate your feelings and validate the reason why that person's stupid for these things, or if they're justified in fucking telling you peace out, maybe you can contrast that with things that you need to work on and use that as an experience, an opportunity for growth, right? For sure. Like, oh man. Okay, so I'll say this. Okay, so I'm gonna take you down a little rabbit hole real quick. Okay, so I'm reading the Stoic philosophy book right now, and they're giving this parable of Hercules, and we all want to be Hercules. He's jacked. He fucking wears a lion head on his fucking head. He's a bad MF, right? So these two goddesses come to him. One's this, she's this little thick chick. She's sexy and she's dirty, and she's saying, I can make you a king, and you'll live like a champion for the rest of your life. Everything will come to you that you ever wanted, right? And he's like, that sounds like all right. Like where did I sign up? Okay, so then, and then that girl's name, I can't remember. There's two names, but she's Vice. She's the Vice is what her name is, and that's where the Latin or the Latin word derives from. Okay, so and there's this other goddess who's a much more modest woman. She's she's Aunt Viv, if you will.
Right.
Okay, so she says, look, man, I'm going to take you down this path. It is hard as fuck. You're going to fight all these monsters. You're going to die a terrible death. You're going to be betrayed. It's going to suck, man. But you're going to be better in the end if you do it, and you just got to believe that. Right, so this is what she's telling Hercules, and Hercules says, you know what? I'm going the hard road. All right, and then, he cuts off the Hydra's head. He does all the Herculean shit, right? But then his wife betrays him. She puts a Hydra's venom on his little lion head and poisons him, and he dies. But in the end, he becomes a god because Zeus seen it so fit that he went that hard route that he guided the fuck out of it, right? That he did the 12 acts or the 12 labors and did all this hard shit and chose the life of hardship. So he made himself worthy of being that actual god. So in the end, he didn't just take the easy route. He, went the stoic route, took the hard pain, and got the greater reward in the end, right? So if you take these hardships, like all these things that I've been through in my life, it sucked ass. They usually were some fucked up character defects that I did not even know that I was doing. They ended landing me up into a pile of shit that I put myself in most of the time is my fault. And I can own that. That is where you, if you take those and learn from those, man, then you can, ascend into something greater. But, when you're going through these hardships, if you don't take ownership of the situation, then, then you're just going to keep repeating these problems. And, and sometimes the thing that we can't own is that we pick toxic people and toxic partners, right? So for me, pulling out of just even landing myself in these situations has been something that has been, something I'm grateful for. And so a lot of times using these problematic situations, these turmoils and these tribulations to give you the opportunity for insight is the best way to do it. But, but not to just dwell on it. Like, it's like, okay, like say, I failed a squat because I rounded my back and then I ended up not losing the leverage in my ass. I could be mad that I missed that squat and just be like, man, I can never squat 450. I can't. I tried it. It beat me. I can't do it. Or I could do the autopsy, right? I could look at the squat video and I could see like, oh man, I should have kept my chest up and, drive from my hips. It's the same thing. It's like, okay, so I lost my job because I was late every fucking day and I didn't perform to the best of my ability. I was looking at my phone way too much and I didn't do X, Y, and Z. Right. It's like, oh man, I'm just not good at that job. Are you not good at that job or do you not apply yourself? Is your girlfriend that left you a fucking bitch or did you treat her like shit and not give her the attention she needed? Like, and it might be both. And it might be somewhere in the middle, but, breaking things down, devoid of that emotional veil is probably the best approach you can do. Like my sister has this rule in her house where you can be mad for fucking 10 minutes and then you need to come up with a plan of action to correct that. And that is one of the most powerful things I never understood when it was told to me, but now I live it.
Yeah, that's legit. I like that.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting from that is, it's good to learn from these negative experiences. But one thing I was hoping we could get into today is strategies when you're actually in that shit, when you're in that turmoil, like what strategies have you used? Because at that point you don't have that that view of insight that like, oh, I can learn from it. Like, you know what I mean? You're depressed, you're hurt, whatever it is, you're hurting at that moment and you're not seeing clearly.
Right.
And I think okay, so for a lot of addicts talk about this. A lot of addicts talk about rock bottom, right? And it's basically when you reach a spot in your life that's the lowest you've ever been, or something that is so, emotionally jarring to your system that it actually sparks something in you, right? Like, okay, I have to, this is the worst it can get. And, that's what they consider rock bottom. When they look back, they go, that was my absolute worst. That was my rock bottom. That was the worst spot I was ever at. And a lot of times it takes people experiencing those rock bottom things to change, to make the necessary changes to, better themselves. Well, I got to say, like, personally, I have been to the rock bed, probably 4 or 5 times in my life. But there's definitely one where I can look back and I can go, I think that is the lowest. That was my lowest point, and well, I'll just go into it. So when I was 22, when I was 21, I discovered a love for cocaine, and it graduated quickly to the habit it was. It started out like I tried it, I enjoyed it, and I started doing it on the weekends with my friends, and then it became like then it would be like every couple of days with my friends, and then eventually got to a point where I was using it by myself. This was like probably 6-7 months later, I'm using it, and that's when you're really an addict, right? When you're no longer socially doing something, that you're doing it all alone, by yourself. And so I was at this point, man, where I didn't have a place to live for a long time, and I was sleeping in my car, and also so I could keep doing coke and drinking beer every night, and I eventually got this place just by chance, like after going through a period of like living with crackheads, and then I moved into a camper. I remember I scrounged up enough money to put down a deposit to rent a camper, and I was renting this camper from these people for like something stupid, like under $200 a month. You know what I mean? Like, it was a fucking camper, dude. It was a camper, and I was in this camper every night, 4 a.m. by myself, doing fucking lines off the little fucking kitchenette. And I remembered it, and that was my absolute lowest point. When I look back, I've had some low points. Even here recently, I've had some low points. But that was the one that was the most jarring, to where I looked at myself and I'm like, man, I'm going to end up like my parents. I'm going to end up like, the people I've seen around me ruin their lives. And it was a point of actually the first time in my life I ever felt hopeless. Like the first time I felt like there's no way out of this, right? And it was all self-inflicted, man. It was all self-inflicted. And so that, I think sometimes
always are self-inflicted.
Yeah, I think those are the hardest ones to come to grips with, come to terms with, and get out of, are the things that you do to yourself,
You have to own them.
Yeah.
If you're going to beat them. And then, I do, and I see a lot of other people when something sucks, and, even if it's not all your shit, if you don't own your shit, none of the shit is ever going to get fixed, right? If you could say, Brett can say, I was doing lines in my fucking camper, and every day after day, I was chasing that bag, and nothing really mattered except for the blow, right? And you just told like a part of my story, and then part of some other people's story. I know that how us people in recovery, we all have many similarities,
Yeah.
Like you lived in a camper, I lived in a garage. Yeah, you keep it gangster. It's like whatever it takes, as long as there's more dope on the way, right?
Right.
Or as long as I got the big bag of dope, I don't care where. I don't need a house.
Yeah.
I got 20 fucking friends that got houses. I got the dope, right? So anyway, that's how I lived for a long time. So it's like I understand 100%, but it's like I did not see where that was an issue until things were played out, right? And okay, so in the middle of being fucked up, is like, at what point do you find the clarity, right? It's like they even say like a moment of clarity. So you got to pump your brakes somewhere, right?
Yep.
And so what made you pump your brakes?
Well, I'm kind of lucky that I have, and I don't know if everybody has this, man, and I think that's the struggle for a lot of people, but I do have something in me that says, and I don't know where I learned it. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if I was born with it. I don't know if my mom gave it to me. I don't know where it came from, but I have something in me that says, maybe it's just my ego. I don't know. But it tells me that I am worth something, right?
Yeah.
And that was the last thing I had left. And in fact, the reason I felt so shitty was because of that ego. It was because, like, I know I'm better than this. I know that this ain't the life I'm supposed to be living. I know that it's, I felt absolutely pathetic, man. I did. And I remember I used to write on these little notepads when I'd be up all night like that, and I would just write on these notepads, and sometimes it was real depressing, man. Like, I'm like writing to myself, like how disappointed I am with myself, and like sometimes it would turn into letters to people in case something happened to me, like, shit like that. And I got to a point where, and this is something that I think is really important to say too. A lot of times you don't decide like, oh, I'm making a change, and then boom, you change. And a lot of times the things that you want to stop doing or change in your life or whatever, they still plague you for a while. But I made this decision at one point that it wasn't me. I said, this is not me. This is not who the fuck I am. I'm not supposed to be in this, like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's my fault that I'm in a situation. And, but there was still nowhere to go. Like, I didn't see a way out. And so in my head, I'd already made the decision, like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing or whatever, but I couldn't make myself stop. I was in a cycle where I could not make myself stop, and that made it even worse. And this is something I wanted to bring up as kind of the main point of what to do when you are in a situation like that where you feel hopeless, helpless, is you have to let go of your ego a little bit. You have to reach out. You have to reach out, because you can't, man. This is one of the hardest things for me in life. I'm still dealing with this, is being able to admit that I can't do shit on my own. Yeah. I can't just go out of sheer fucking willpower, because that's how everything else in my life works, right? Like, if I want to fucking run a marathon, I just do it. I just will myself to it. But when it comes to being at the lowest point in your life, when it comes to being in a grip of depression or something like that, I think the best way to get out of it is to reach out. And that's hard, because a lot of times when you're in a situation like that, when you're at your rock bottom, you've already fucked over everybody around you. No one wants to help. No one wants to help you anymore. And
you've detrimentally damaged all your social support. So if that's if you even have a social support at this point that doesn't think you're a fucking a joke or a snake, or you're lucky, right?
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. You've ruined trust with everyone, and it's like you almost feel embarrassed to even ask at this point. Like, who the fuck's gonna trust me, and why should they? I'll probably fuck them over. And you know what? I got lucky in this situation because I had my dad, who, what I did to get out of the situation was, and I think is important to do, is you have to make changes, and whether they're a tiny change or a huge change, something has changed. So you can either start off, like, if there's no way to make a giant change, you know what I mean? You have to start off making little tiny changes, little stupid things, little, like we've talked about in previous episodes, about like doing little things that don't really seem to matter, but they're a change in your habits, right?
Yeah, making the bed.
Making the bed.
Choosing positive.
Right.
The little shit.
That's it. But the thing is sometimes it takes, sometimes you need help, man. And that's the hardest thing to admit, is like, and if you don't have someone, like at that point I had my dad, but if you don't have someone, you have to reach out to, like, you might not have anybody around you left, but there are people out there like you, who have been in that situation before, who will help you out. Like, there are meetings you can go to. There are free counselors you can go talk to. There are places to go if you need a place to sleep, if you need a bite to eat, if you need just someone to fucking listen to you. Like, and I think that these things are huge, man. And even back then, I attribute it all to my willpower. You know what I mean? It takes me now looking back at it to see, like, I had to ask my dad for help. If my dad wasn't a truck driver, that I could say, hey, Dad, the only way I can see out of this situation is if I come with you on the road and I learn the truck driving industry and get my CDL and learn how to drive a truck. Like, that was my massive change, right? But I got lucky, man. I got lucky that, for one, I had a person there that I could go to like that. And I got lucky that it was available to me. Like,
yeah.
But the thing is, at the time, even, I didn't recognize it. I still thought it was just I thought it was my willpower. My ego was telling me, like, yeah, you picked yourself up by the bootstraps and you fucking solved the problem. And I would brag to people, you know what I mean, for a long time. And that's why the shit still plagues me to this day. And that's what found me in meetings a year ago, even though we're talking about a cocaine habit that was 17 years ago. Like, it still plagued me because I didn't drop my ego. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just thought I was, man, I'm doing this. This is me. No, man, you know what it is? This time around, it was my wife, you know?
Yeah.
My wife had to threaten to leave me if I didn't start making changes. That's how big my ego is on this. And that's why I think you have to be open to getting help from other people, even if that's tough love like my wife gave me, or a helping hand like my dad gave me, or the support of an anonymous group of strangers that wants to listen to your problems. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think that the one of the main keys to getting out of a deep, dark place is just reaching out, man.
Yeah. You know, and reaching out is huge. And then, you know, on the back end of that, being ready to be reached out to.
Yeah.
On the, you know, like, being like, now I can be that social support for other people. That's like, that is fucking, you know, a gift that I get to pay forward now. You know, because I similar situation. You know, it took me about 10 years longer than you to come to that realization that I needed to exit myself from such situations. Like, I was like, you know, like, cool, my kid's 10 and he lives in the house and I live in the garage.
Yeah, but real quick, like I said, I didn't do it right the first time. I didn't recognize that I needed help, and I just let that ego keep building. And so maybe it took you 10 years longer. The fact is, you've been clean longer than I have now. And that's because, it took you 10 years further in the journey. But
there's some time of sobriety where my ego was so fucking awesome. Like I was fucking Chad, dude. I was rad as fuck, you know.
Yeah.
I fucking got a whole fucking year. I'm fucking leaned out. I thought I had a job now. Look at me go. But there's no real introspection. As soon as there's no accountability, I was open to just thinking that my willpower was greater than that of outside forces that tend to bend my fucking life into shit.
Yeah.
And and I succumbed to those toxins and put myself back in that whirlwind. And then I had that one person, that one sibling that was in a position to say, okay, I'm gonna give you this chance, but if not, this is the last. This is it. This is 100% the last time. And she's a person who's very of their word, whether good, bad, or indifferent. If they say this is what it is, this is what it's gonna be, right?
Yeah.
And I'm forever grateful to my sister Amanda, dude. And she said, look, you can come stay with me, but if you fuck this up, I can't help you no more, and I'm gonna keep your kid because you're fucking his life up, right? And I'm being very transparent of my story and my tribulations I've been through and what have you. But at that point, I had been saying that I'm hopeless right now, and I would say that about 3 times a day unconsciously in my head. And one night I don't know what it was, but I was like, man, this is fucking pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fucking joke, right? And you have to own that you're a fucking joke. And if you want to, you can't respect the person in the mirror, then you need to make some changes. You need to take some, you need to make some acquisition of betterment, whether that's fucking not smoking a cigarette, whether that is fucking completely turn your life upside down, whatever it is for, to take that next level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, whether it's, because at the start, all you need is like air, food, water, shelter, right?
Yeah.
Then you need, maybe some employment, some socialization, you need like friends, social support, employment, and then after that, it's like, you need a house in the neighborhood you want to live in, you need a decent car, then after that, it's like, I need to have a creative outlet. I need to find some spirituality. I need to, some entrepreneurship, some moving forward, some next steps.
Yeah.
But it all starts when you stop digging. That's your bottom, is when you put the shovel down and start fucking looking around at how deep the hole is that you got to climb yourself out of. It's like we all want to, we all at some point find ourselves, waist deep in that quicksand, and it's like, you're gonna find that rope, or you're gonna keep kicking and fussing, right? You're gonna find that rope and pull yourself out, or you're gonna fucking, be that dumbass that talks shit until he's got the quicksand in his mouth. That's a very vague reference to a bunch of cowboy movies that I watched when I was a little kid. But
I think it's important to that people realize, like, just because you decide to make a change or you start making some right decisions, for one, it does not happen instantly, man. Like, you don't go, whatever it is, you don't get over it. You don't decide to get over it, and then because you made that decision to work in the right direction, now everything's gonna be great around you. No, man. A lot of times, like, we're specifically talking a lot about addiction, and a lot of times when you're in that kind of a situation, it's a long fucking road, especially if you've damaged all the relationships around you, and it can be really disheartening at times when you feel like you're making all this progress within you, but the people around you, the life around you, isn't reflecting that in the way you want. Like, you can't make your relatives trust you. You can't just, you're being honest. You're doing the right thing. It's been a year. It's been 2 years. But everyone's still kind of like, don't trust it yet.
Yeah,
can,
like,
you know. And
if I go back to my hometown, there's 100% people that will probably still think that I would fucking rob their house or fucking or that I'm still like on some bullshit. You know, they wrote me off years ago, rightfully so. And if my name came up, it would never. They like. It's not like they're like I'm on fucking TV and they're following me. It's not in the newspaper. Oh, fucking, I'm not Robert Downey Jr. Nobody knows I went to fucking rehab and got out and fucking, I'm doing better now. Like, some people do, some people don't. I don't really give a fuck. The main takeaway is the world doesn't owe you shit. So you can make all the amends you want, but people don't have to accept this. They don't have to care that you fucking changed, Like, nobody owes you shit. So when being gracious and grateful is a lot of the keys to success when getting through any turmoil. Whatever kind of heartbreak it is, if you're reaching out to somebody and they are accepting of that and offering you kindness or platitudes or philosophy, whatever things they're giving you, even if it sucks, they're still trying to help you. So just an attitude of gratitude, to be fucking cliche as hell, but that goes a long way. And also it's like, man, like sometimes when you're just in pain, I suffer from just depression just creeps in me, man. I fight with that a lot. You wouldn't know it because I don't talk about it a lot, because I'm very aware of the, my brain is just a fucking asshole that wants to tell me my life sucks when it doesn't. But you got to latch on to those things you give a fuck about that are present, and you got to really love that thing. Like, I love my kid, man. I love my wife is fucking amazing, and I'm so blessed to have her. Like, you need to attach on to these things that you have, and if your wife left and that's all you got, then man, I got my dog Sparky, and he's a bad motherfucker, and we're gonna be loyal to him no matter what. He's gonna like that bitch. He pissed on her bed, haha. The Sparky's just a metaphor for something to attach yourself to. It's like when you're weak, you need something to grab onto. You need that life support. And that might, for some people, that might be religion. For some people, that might be a friend. Whatever it is that's gonna get you through. Sometimes it's just you're facing yourself. You're like for you, you said my ego. Maybe that was just your love of yourself pulled you out of your bullshit, which is 100% a non-toxic trait. Like, that's an awesome coping mechanism. You're like, I'm being, you checked yourself. So I'm being a fucking piece of shit. I need to fucking reach out and find some way to get out of this, right?
Yeah.
So man, like that, is huge. But I've been damaged in the past, and I just attached myself to somebody that was stable and made myself of value. Like, I didn't have any money, but I cooked, I cleaned, watched the kids, I helped in her garden, whatever she needed me to do to forthright the situation, even though it's still not beneficial to her, that's fine, man. Like, I jumped in and, and made it, it's not worthwhile to her by any means. 2 mouths of food taken in, like, that was not worthwhile to her, other than she's a compassionate person. And so, I'm having that lifeline, that life support was instrumental, so, sometimes when things are rough, man, that the mental toughness is not always going to be there, especially because usually we don't learn how to build that until after we've had one of these catastrophic situations happen. It's like, hindsight is 20/20. It's like, now I know if some shit gets out of hand, I have the fortitude to come to reach out. I know that I'm humble enough to call somebody who genuinely gives a fuck about me before I've done all the things that make them write me off, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that it speaks to the thing that you talked about earlier about the trials of Hercules, right? I think that what I was saying earlier about sometimes you're on the path of getting better, but it ain't fucking easy. In fact, sometimes it gets harder on that path. You're choosing a harder path. It's much easier to wallow in pity. It is way easier to stay depressed than it is to fight your way out of it. And that's kind of like the trials, right? Do I avoid this thing, or do I meet it head on? Okay, so like you were saying, the first thing is you need to allow yourself to feel whatever feelings you're feeling, right? That's the very first thing. And then after that initial thing, I think it is important. This is a good strategy, I think, for getting out of any kind of depressive state or turmoil you might find yourself in. But after acknowledging, right, what happened, what your feelings are about it, I think it's important that you keep yourself busy, not as a point of avoidance, because like I said, we thought about it, we've analyzed it, we're constantly thinking of strategies to combat it, whatever it is. But keeping yourself busy is huge, man, because not only is it getting your mind to work like it's supposed to, which is, your mind isn't built to just dwell on one thing, right? It's built to do a lot of different things, man, to be able to go to work and take care of your kids and back in the day, hunt for food and gather food and, all this stuff, right? But your mind is not built to just sit and dwell on something.
Right.
And I think it's important to keep yourself busy physically, mentally. You got to find positive things to do, man. So to
throw yourself in.
To work that muscle of doing other things besides just focusing on the one thing, but also it starts to create some positivity. You start to accomplish little tiny goals, and that's where you start building your way out of complete depression. If you can accomplish little tiny fucking wins for yourself, right? Little tiny wins to say, I'm on the right path. This is rewarding. You start working that reward system and you start seeing the benefits to not staying where you were. Whether that's like we were talking about with addiction, or whether we're talking about when you were talking about losing someone close to you. You can't stay there. You can't stay there. You have to feel it. It's important that you feel it. Don't mask your feelings. Don't cover them up. That's a quick road to way more pain.
If you don't feel your feelings, analyze the situation, get mad, don't do anything crazy. And when you're feeling it, get mad, get sad, feel the feeling, but then analyze what you can do to better the situation. Do I need to be more compassionate? Do I need to just distance myself from the people involved? Do I need to, do I need to make amends on my side of the street? Do I need to, am I placing blame on others that is not just? I think you need to analyze something, but not obsess over it. And that's a fine line, what actually, okay, so you analyzed it for a day or two, mulled it over, thought about it, give it some space, give it some breathing room, you made Pruno, you got to birth the baby, right? So,
you felt it, you hurt, you cried, you got angry, feel it.
But if you just put the Band-Aid on, it's just going to fester. You got to air it out. And
you need to feel it,
So that's all good and said, but it's but if you live in just feeling it, you don't know how to prepare for the next one. It's like somebody can jab you hella hard, but if you don't learn to flip the jab and throw it right, you're just gonna keep getting beat up, right?
Yeah, and it's gonna compound because you're still gonna have that injury the next time something hard hits you, right?
Yeah, and your coping mechanisms are going to be more toxic and more toxic and more toxic every time, I know this one individual is he's 36, 37, and it's to this day, everything is everybody else's fault, and can't, if you can't own your own bullshit, by the time you're 30, bro, you're fucking up in life. And, and I'll say that to anybody's face at any time. Most people could probably do that by the time they're 21, but, that's not where the people that I grew up with or hung around with, that's not a thing. So it's usually a prison sentence and then they come out and then they figure that out, So that being said, it's be mad about it for 10 minutes, then make action. Or, feel it, and then you gotta, you gotta condense your thoughts, like the water condenses on the side of a water bottle on a hot day. That needs to be all your feelings getting bubbled into one thing that you're gonna fucking do and you're gonna move forward with. It's like, okay, so just say like, okay, a girl broke your heart. Okay, you did this, she did that. Okay, cool. I got to go my separate way. I'm going to try not to think about her. I'm not going to think about her to anybody because that makes me look like a piece of shit. And, I'm going to start reading books. I'm going to lift weights for a while. I'll start running when I feel sad or, or whatever. I'm going to learn to bake, whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to find an alternate action.
Take action.
And take action as opposed to the toxic trait that quick fixes.
Yeah, I think it's important. It's important to. We've said it over and over, but it's important to feel the feeling. But then you got to set a point for yourself to where you're like, okay, now I'm going to work my way out of this. Like now I have to take action. Now I'm not saying to take action right away. I'm saying feel those feelings fully first, but have a plan that you're going to take action at some point and actually take the action. Because if you don't take, even if it's just a little step towards something, man, if you don't, you're going to stay there. So you're going to stay there in that depressive state, or you're going to move forward with your life. And the only way to move forward is to actually move. You have to move. You cannot stay there.
Yeah, I'm sure I beat it to death, but you've heard my terms. Like, I call some people still people. It's like a still person. It's like they're still talking shit. They're still doing drugs. They're still not working. They're still blaming everybody for their problems. And it's like they're still on their bullshit. And it's like I don't want to be a still person. I'm in action. I'm making movements forward. I'm acquiring better. I'm looking for the next thing moving so I can be progressive and jumping on it and being part of that action. Right. Because if you want to live in the past and, call out people on shit that happened 5 years ago, it's like, bro, I'm not even the same person that was there 5 years ago. I'm not the same person I was a year and a half ago because I work on being progressively better, smarter, stronger, faster, not just physically. I mean, in my mind too, I want to be a better friend, a better partner. I want to be these things that I have failed to do in the past. And if you're not actively working on it, it's like I'm trying to be professionally a good dad. I'm trying to be professionally a good boyfriend. That's how much I care about not retrogressing back to, because I can be super jealous sometimes because I'm a very insecure person, right? Yeah. So I still have these thoughts where I'm like, freaking psycho over nothing, but I know better than to say something, and I say it out loud not out loud, I say it in my head, and I think it out, and I'm like, wow, I'm really crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, Jesse Cole's a fucking psycho sometimes. But then I don't say nothing out loud, and I don't make a weird face about it, and, I don't give it any power. So it's like, that is progression from a time where, somebody did me dirty, and I let that be my coping mechanism to be all crazy and insecure and probably ruin a bunch of good relationships as a result of that, right? So it's like I've made action that I'm not going to react to things stupidly. I'm not going to, I'm not going to get in my feelings about something that's very minuscule or, benign, even though it's deflating of my ego.
Yeah, it's important. It's important that you be intentional with everything that you do. Like, if you want to get out of a state that you don't want to be in, you have to take action. But it can't just be. I mean, it's got to be intentional. You have to have a clear. I'm not saying you have to have it all worked out, but you have to know the direction. You know what I'm saying? Forward, man. Yeah. You want to move better. There's
always going to be loose ends because that's just life,
Yeah, for sure.
Life moves too fast for everything to wrap up in 90 minutes. It's not a rom-com,
Yeah, I think too that another point to your Hercules thing story from earlier is where when I was talking about when you are making all this progress, but no one else seems to notice.
Yeah.
Same thing with Hercules, man. You're saying that he went through all this shit and he still died a horrible death and he suffered his entire existence, but in the end, he was better for it. And sometimes that's the only light at the end of the tunnel, is that these things that I'm doing are improving me. Like you might not see the rewards from people around you. You might not see, I don't know what you want, but it feels like a lot of times when you're making progress, you feel like the world should be taking notice. But then you realize, like, that's not what you're doing this for. You know what I mean? That's not
right. It's like there's people from my past that I would never be able. I could literally cure AIDS and would not gain the respect back because I just did some dirtball shit to them, and rightfully so. I wouldn't ever forgive you for some of the things I've done either.
Right.
But you got to realize you're not doing it for them.
Right.
You're doing it for you.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, my ex-wife probably still thinks I'm a hunk of shit, and she's probably kind of right in some areas, but I didn't change my life to benefit her. I did this for me and our son. So,
right.
So what the fuck does it matter? It's like, I don't lift weights because, it's going to make my brother stronger. I lift weights because it's going to make me fucking strong.
Right.
I'm going to be like, I know what kind of power I'm bringing, right? Because I put my fucking feet in the fire. I know I can stand with the coals, right? And no pun intended. But it's like, I know I can withstand the storm because I run in the fucking rain, right? Yeah. I've been through some shit, so I know about it. And it's like, nobody fucking has a easy life, but some people have had it harder. And it's like, as rough as I think I've lived, there's people that had it. They live in war-torn fucking countries, and it's like, man, they wish they had the fucking problems I did, So it's like, we get these super entitled feelings, and it's like, man, our darkness is not, ain't even a fucking shadow to some people. So it's like, staying, staying in the moment and understanding that, and understanding that suffering is an opportunity for growth. But if you don't grow from it, then it's just suffering in vain, and that's just a waste of fucking time.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it. Yeah. I think we covered pretty well, at least how to get out of self-created depression and turmoil. Man, we maybe should have made it like that was the focus, was like when you fuck up, you know what I mean?
Filling in holes, if you will.
Yeah, because while you could just say this applies to a lot of things, it doesn't apply as much to the thing like you were talking about, where if you lose someone close to you. Now, getting out of it is still the same in terms of like you need to feel those feelings fully and then start taking action to get out of it. Because if you don't take action, it's not going to just go away. It's never going to go away. So in terms of that,
I think reaching out to people still applies, though.
Yeah. For sure.
It's huge.
For sure. Yeah, reaching out to people. It just it's tough too at the time to like drop your ego. But I mean, one of the biggest.
My ego kept me on the street for years.
One of the biggest things that will crush your ego, though, is hitting that rock bottom and realizing you got no one left around you. You know what I mean? Like that. Who is left to impress, man? You know what I mean? You look around and there's no one beside you in the camper. So I think reaching out is huge, and I think that feeling those feelings is huge, and I think that taking action, those three things, man, are probably the three things that will get you out of. And I'm not saying I got the cure for everybody's fucking depression. I'm not saying that. There are people with chemical imbalances and things like that struggle with some real issues that I can't solve. But I'm saying from personal experience, the way I've found out of those kind of situations is through those three things. Those really feeling the feelings. Don't fucking mask them. Actually look at your situation objectively and be like, shit, I'm fucking up. Or I shouldn't have done these things. Like, drop the ego and say, this is my fault, and it is no one else's fault. Or if it's not your fault, being able to realize that. Actually looking at the situation, being realistic, being honest. I think that's it, starting out with honesty and saying, like, I'm in a situation I don't want to be in. Whether it's your fault or not, you can come to that conclusion. You can be like, oh, I lost somebody close to me. And if it's not your fault, then you can come to grips with that. You can be like, okay, I didn't do this. This is something that has happened, and it hurts. And you got to feel it, man. You got to feel it, and then you got to start taking action. So, and then part of that taking action, a lot of the time, most of the time, is reaching out to other people for help.
Yeah, and being corrective of your own action when not justified.
Yep.
All right, I think that's a wrap on this episode.
I think we got it, man.
I appreciate you, man. And I appreciate these conversations we're having, and I appreciate our listeners, and we'll be back next week with some more shit for you.
All right, thanks, everybody. Follow us on Instagram, LongLostBrothers_podcast, or you can find Jesse at Koll with a K, or you can find me at Real Brett Scott. This is on Instagram. And, we'll talk at you next week. Thanks for listening.